All right, let's do this. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Build. How are we feeling? We doing all right? Feeling good? Feeling poor? Feeling well? There you go. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, indeed, my friends. Welcome, welcome one and all. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful New York City afternoon. We are officially at the halfway mark here today at Build, but we are going to just keep on cranking up the heat. Now, if you've been here before, you've heard me say, I'm very comfortable. I'm happy to admit it when we got one. Our next guest, just a good-looking dude. I'm telling you that right now. He is a handsome man and very talented, too. Now, you've seen him before, a bunch of step-up movies. You've seen him on Glee. You've seen him on Shadowhunters recently. Got any Shadowhunters fans in the house right now? And you could see him today in episode 1 and 2 of his new show, Single by 30. Of course, I'm talking about Harry. Shum Jr. is here. What do you think? Awesome. He's wonderful, and he'll be out here in just a moment. So he's going to come on out, take a seat right here. I'm going to sit in that chair, and then I'm going to hurl a bunch of questions at him, and he's going to answer them, and then you guys get to ask some questions, all right? So if you haven't yet, yes, that's right. You were right to applaud for the idea of you guys asking questions. It's a very exciting time. So if you haven't yet, think of some great questions for Harry. Those tuning in live out there on AOL.com across various parts of the internet and globe, you're a part of the magic, all right? Now, if you haven't sent us a question yet, you can too. Press the button. It says submit a question on it. Or tweet at us at BuildSeriesNYC. And if you do a good job and you write a really good question, Max will read it live on the air, and Harry will answer it, and you'll feel really, really special for that period of time that happens, okay? I've got a little trailer for the show. We're going to watch that, and then we'll get Harry on out here, and we'll make the magic happen. But before I go any further, he can hear everything that's happening. So I'm going to ask you one more time, and it ain't about me. It's about Harry. Y'all excited that he's here? Me too. That was beautiful. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and run that trailer.
Doesn't it freak you out that you might be alone?
Maybe you need a backup plan.
If we're still single by 30, let's get married.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, what?
Isn't it your birthday or something?
In fact, it is.
30.
30?
3-0.
Dirty 30.
Joanna?
Peter! Do you remember our pact? I am 30 in 5 months. Let's help each other date, knowing we can fall back on a friendship.
Wow. That is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard.
2, setting each other up.
Cheers.
Dating is a numbers game.
I'm literally just swiping them away.
I just want to skip the dating and get straight to the relationship part.
I want to get off apps.
I want to get on the apps.
To Peter and his waning youth.
Turn up.
You ready to party like you're 21?
I'm ready to party like I'm 30.
That was unreal.
This was probably goodbye sex for us.
What?
A guy calls up his ex right before his wedding.
How have you been?
I'm supposed to be your girlfriend.
You are. Waiting for me. Waiting for me. What are we?
You marry the person that always has your back. Maybe the pact's too confusing. Maybe I should just call it off.
Are you serious, Joanna?
You married the person you can't imagine not being in your life.
We only had one rule, to be upfront with each other. Have you been?
Have you? You marry your best friend.
What about the pact?
All right, it is an amazing show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Put your hands together. Let's welcome him in right. Make some noise, and please welcome today's guest, so Single by 30, Mr. Harry Shum Jr. Welcome, Harry. Thank you so much for being here. Harry Shum Jr., everybody.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
He's here. You know how busy this guy is. So busy. But we got him. Man, thank you so much for being here. Congrats on the show.
Hey, thank you so much.
It's amazing. I got to check out a couple of episodes. I'm excited to talk to you about it. And that's a fantastic trailer. But one of the things I was saying backstage is the show, you don't get a sense from that exactly. This is a funny show. You guys are hilarious in this show.
Yeah, we had great writers and great chemistry. But, when you watch a trailer, you kind of get the gist of the plot. But there's a lot of great, real scenes as far as like real grounded scenes, and also the writers really put some great thought into the comedy aspect of it too as well.
Totally. Well, that's a great way to put it, is that it does feel very real. It has a very grounded and very real sense to it, and there's a lot of fun there. How'd you get involved with the project, man?
It's really funny. I mean, it all just kind of came organically. I watch Wong Fu Productions, their directing team, Wes and Phil, and they've been making YouTube videos for almost like 10 years on YouTube. So I watched one of their comedic videos, and I loved it, and I posted it on my Twitter, and then we started messaging. It's like this new way of communicating. It's like you don't meet people down the street anymore. It's like, you know, you go on Twitter, and they liked my work, and we just started collaborating on little funny shorts. And it kind of culminated into shooting this pilot a year ago. They had this idea and then had me in mind. So we shot it, and then a year down the road, they New Form, which is kind of backed up by Ron Howard and Brian Grazer.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. Small time. They commissioned it for us to do 8 episodes, a half-hour, 8 episodes. So it's really cool to be on that scale, and especially for them. This is their first kind of time to be able to do a larger scale video where it's not just a 10, 20-minute video.
No, for sure. Well, it's got a really cool vibe, and you mentioned the chemistry earlier. A pretty amazing cast. You've got your young sister is Anna
Kana,
which is amazing.
She's a star, man.
I was going to say she was here a couple of weeks ago for Miss 2059 there, and she is hilarious. So it was so fun having her here. What's it like working with her on set, and what's that vibe?
She's so witty. I mean, first of all, she's a writer, and she can direct, and she can do everything. I mean, she's a YouTube content creator, and but not just that, she's a great actress, and doing scenes with her was just so easy. It didn't feel like, okay, what are we doing with this scene? She just came out, and it just felt like we were really brothers and sisters, which was weird. I was like, should I tell you when dinner is? Yeah, she was incredible to work with. This was my first time working with her as well.
Yeah, also amazing. Kina in this one, I'm blanking on her last name.
Kina Granis.
Kina Granis. Yes, she's incredible. I didn't realize that she was acting. I'd known her for music for a while, but she's really good in this too. And you guys have a great chemistry on screen. Like, did you guys have to work on building that, or was that one of those things that just kind of happened immediately?
She's very natural. I mean, her as a person, she's just a beautiful person inside and out. And I mean, first of all, she's beautiful, and beautiful voice. And I think the combination of it is that she's just a very real, down-to-earth person. And shooting this, when we did another video called The Last, that did really well, and it was the first time working with her. But it's really strange when you kind of meet someone for the first time and you just kind of click. And I think that's what happened with me and her.
One of the things that the show does, at least in the first 3 episodes that I saw that I love, in the cold opens, there's like these great flashbacks to the early aughts. And I haven't seen too much. It's like one of the first shows I think I've seen, because you have like the Goldbergs are kind of touching on the 80s, and like Fresh Off the Boat, it's got the 90s thing. And you guys are kind of nailing in those little bits what the early 2000s were like. Is the early aughts Peter an accurate reflection of the early aughts Harry there? With the visor and the big pants and the...
Sadly enough, my friends used to make... I thought visors were really cool back then. And
everybody did. You can't be blamed for that.
But yeah, they would make fun of me. And I had this thing. It was like a KCOY. I got it for free.
Did you have the frosted tips for real, though, back in the day?
They're somewhere out there on the internet. So don't Google it. Yes, I had many hairstyles. I mean, this really touched upon. The only thing that didn't touch upon was me having braids. I had braids before. I'm glad they didn't go that far.
Internet, if you do one thing today, find a picture of Harry Shum Jr. with braids. Go.
You won't even recognize me. It was a strange time of my life. And yes, I did the frosted tips and did it myself. I think almost burned my whole head off trying to do it myself. But yeah, they captured the show, especially the flashbacks with the music and the jeans and the puka shells. The puka shells. Who wore puka shells?
Who's brave enough to admit having worn
Thanks for admitting.
Yeah. For sure, it was a special time, no doubt. Now you got married about a year ago, right?
Yeah. I got married in November.
Anniversary coming up, yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very soon.
Of course.
It's crazy. Yeah.
For sure, it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and for me, it was like we were together for 7 years, and it just it wasn't like a time frame where we needed to do it, and I'm so happy, and it's been such a great time in my life.
Well, congratulations, and I bring it up because similar. So you guys met your lady in '07, right, or something like that? Give or take. Yeah, I met mine in '05, and so for the better part of like 10 years, we've been in these relationships, right? So in doing this show, the dating scene between 10 years ago and now has changed dramatically. Was there anything that you kind of came upon or discovered?
Are you kidding me? When
that you were like, this is what's happening
instead
now?
of swiping, you just push people to the right and left. No, don't do that. No, I didn't do that. People did that to me. They're like,
just literally,
yeah, just literally pushing you. So it's actually nicer that you're getting swiped.
It's a little less harsh now.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of friends that are still, single and doing, and it's one of my friends let me swipe, and it was this weird feeling.
Take the wheel?
It was like, I felt like I was really invasive. I was like, are you sure? And when I would do it, he would look at me, he's like, he would get scared because like, you're kind of messing up my whole like vibe here. But it was really interesting to kind of tap into that and see what's happening now. But which we do in this show as well. We really kind of tap into the modern day of dating and how difficult it is, and also how it's really not that different. It's just the way you do it. Because at the end of the day, you still want to connect with that person, and hopefully you still have to meet up, because you can't just stand behind a screen or sit behind a screen the whole time. And we find the comedy in it, and we also find the real moments of being able to, how it affects you, emotionally, and especially on a woman and a male perspective as well, because. Specifically with Peter, he's a very emotional guy. He's very sensitive, but he doesn't go overboard with it. But at times, that's what really men feel, that we sometimes don't express that in the society right now.
Well, yeah, for sure. Peter is kind of that softer guy that taps into that. But the show does a great job of sort of looking at it from every perspective. Like Peter's buddy is a little more abrasive, perhaps.
Which is great. Eric Ochoa is
great.
So
but
great.
what I also love is Chloe's character, who's kind of like the female side of that. She is hilarious, by the way. And I just kind of, like all the different rules and stuff that you kind of learn throughout the show, when she was like talking about how many photos you should have on your page and all these different things.
Which is true. I hear people say that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the lingo, and there's one part where Joanna tells her like, oh, DTF, put DTF in there, and she doesn't know what that means, which it's not appropriate to say.
The awkward silence in the room tells me we all know exactly what DTF means, so we'll go
Except for the person that goes like...
But all right, so anyways, the show is amazing. We've got a limited amount of time. There's a couple other things I want to talk about real quick. I would be remiss if I had you on this stage and I did not bring up Magnus Bane himself, Mr. Shadow. I mean, a little bit of round of applause. You look like, whenever I see you in that role, man, it is very apparent that you are having the time of your life. At least that's how it reads, that you're just having a great time playing that character. Can you talk a little bit about that experience, how you got involved, and what it's sort of become, right?
Yeah, Magnus Bane, there's no other character like it right now, especially on TV. Cassandra Clare, created such a wonderful character that means so much to so many people. The fact that he is centuries old, 400 or 500 years old, but also is tapped into the human side of being very compassionate, but also jaded in a lot of ways, and I think it's very interesting for someone who's lived that long and has these magical powers that can portal anywhere in the world, but still have these very, very human qualities. And he's lived for so long and has so much experience, but still has so much to learn. And I think that says a lot to just people, even no matter what age you are, there's still so much to learn. And for me, I have so much fun putting the costumes on, the makeup, although I hate taking it off because it takes forever. I'm literally the last one to leave the set. Everyone's like in their car waiting for me. Oh God, Harry's taking his makeup off and the glitter's like trailing all over the place.
I was gonna ask you, what's the weirdest place you found glitter, presumably a week after you were wearing it? Because it's impossible to get rid of.
My armpits.
No way.
I don't know how it ends up there. I'm like, do I wipe my face?
I'm gonna tell you right now, that sounds deliberate. That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff gets everywhere, and especially the makeup department, they're like, we hate the glitter because it gets everywhere.
Okay, so season 2's coming up soon. You guys are working on it right now, right?
Yeah, we're currently shooting. I literally just shot till like 1 a.m. yesterday in Toronto and came back here and got to shoot tomorrow. But it's been great. You know, we have 20 episodes that we're shooting, and I think we're gonna really get to go a lot deeper into the mythology and deeper into all the characters that people love so much, and find the backstory of Magnus too, because he's got a lot of backstory.
It's really exciting. Without using any spoilers, can you detail any of the major plot twists or character deaths?
I'll tell you everything. Okay, so episode 1. No.
No, but what's something you're really excited about that coming up in the new season?
For specifically Magnus is that we get to really find out what made him who he is today. And what demons. I mean, he is half demon, but what demons he really has in his closet, or out of the closet, and he's able to we're able to kind of really go to a level of going even past like what the books didn't go, where the books didn't go, while still having that come into play in the series as well. So I'm really excited to get deeper, and you know, we have a great team right now, and the cast is killing it. So we're on the 2nd episode right now.
Have you read all the books or some of the books, or is it sort of a thing where, of course, you want to get some background, but you don't want to peek too far ahead because you still want to be surprised? Like, how do you juggle that? Like,
yeah, I read most of them, and the one I really paid attention to for me was really Bane Chronicles, just because it really we got to see the stories and different relationships that Magnus had, specifically, you know, with Ragnar and Camille, and how Camille really affected him, and his, you know, previous relationships, and also what he has going with Alec. And it really helped a lot to kind of gain insight on who Magnus was, while also allowing his level to also discover who he is. So I don't know everything at the same time, and especially with plot, you know, you sometimes want to be surprised yourself so you can actually react to it.
For sure. How do you feel about the response from the fans? Did you know that it was going to be as like big as it is? Because they have some of the best fans of this show.
Some of the best fans.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys really blew our minds. You know, from the first time I heard that I got the role and I was going to play Magnus, it was just instantaneous. The fans were just like, first they were like, "Who is this guy? What does he do?" Okay. And then, you know, over time, you know, specifically when the series came out in the first season, we dealt with a lot of fans were just like, "I hope they do this right and do this." And I think for us, it was like, let's just go on this journey and kind of go at it together. And they've been incredible. And even to this day right now, I can't wait for them to see what we've been cooking.
Well, everyone's super excited for the next season. Speaking of really excited fan base, I want to talk to you a little bit before we throw to audience Q&A about your time on Glee. So you guys, yeah. That show was a game changer for so many different reasons. And I just want to know, what was it like sort of in the early days and kind of being on that set? And of course, you've got to have some kind of crazy Jane Lynch story. So Glee, you, amazing, go. What do you got?
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to sum up. I mean, in 6 years, what we were able to do is, first, let's go on Jane Lynch. Yeah. I mean, she is scary and hilarious. I mean, when I first, because she's just this force that when she comes onto set, you see Jane Lynch, but you see Sue Sylvester, and she really scared you. I really felt like a high school kid, you know, and how first of all, like, just making us feel like we were her slaves or soldier, you know, and in this weird comedic way was an incredible testament to kind of her improv skills and the fact that we could not hold it together. It was really hard to act with her because for the fact that you couldn't hold it together when the coverage was on you, and she's just spewing all this improv on you, and so she's an incredible kind of part of Glee that made it so special. But I mean, look, even now there's so many like musicals that are coming out right now that I think, you know, with Ryan Murphy and the team, that what they were able to do is really make it presentable, I guess, on television in a way where they were able to tell these stories with the music, and luckily for me, I came into it dancing. That's how I was, I was a day player. I was just in the background, like just dancing, and then they allowed me to have a storyline, and for me, it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. We got to travel the world. Like, I feel like, what were we? Were we on a TV show, or were we on a band?
Right.
We were doing world tours and going to these award shows and doing these crazy things.
When you got to make that transition from just the dancing fun guy to like having your own story, was that something that you were actively like pushing for, or did they recognize that sort of fire in you and they were like, we've got to give you more to do?
I think it was a combination of both. But for me, people didn't know that when I auditioned, and I was reading Finn's sides. I mean, obviously Finn was already casted by Corey Monteith, but we were reading all the Finn sides. So they wanted to also see if we can act. I think they wanted it to go there, and hoping that the actor didn't mess it up. So I'm just glad that I didn't mess it up.
Very, very cool. Do you still keep touch with some of the people from back in the day from the Glee class?
Yeah, they're actually here. No, I'm just kidding. No.
They're all here right now. Come on out. Bring 'em.
Yeah, I do. They're all doing just really cool, incredible projects, and it's really like college friends that you kind of hit up, just to see. Like, I just called like Amber, and she's doing Dreamgirls in London, and even Darren, he's doing Hedwig and I think in Hollywood right now. And everyone's just doing really, really cool projects. So I'm just so proud of them. And, we definitely keep in touch and try and support each other as much as possible, because it was a very special moment in our lives.
Very, very cool. As an incredible dancer, this is one more question, and then we'll head over to audience Q&A. Do you find, because you are, round of applause for how amazing of a dancer this guy is real quick, because so good. Have you found having that skill set has given you something a little extra when you approach a role as an actor, or something more that you can bring to a specific role because you're maybe a little more in tune with your body in that way, and different ways that you can bring about that physicality?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because it has a lot of perks as far as, especially like Magnus. I don't dance specifically, but there's also like movements that I can throw in there that allows his personality to show that he's elusive, but he's also has been around and really comfortable in his body, and that helps just kind of being comfortable in my space and within my movement. And then there's the other times when you just need stillness, and I just want to dance sometimes. It's just like I can't help it. I just gotta dance. And but it does help, because it allows me to be aware of just being still and knowing there's a time and place for it. But I always say, when I was dancing, I was acting through movement, and when I'm acting, I'm dancing with my emotions. So it's always hand in hand in both for me, whichever way I'm kind of trying to express myself.
Very cool. All right, we're going to turn it over to audience Q&A. So I want name, favorite dance move, and your question. Let's go.
Ashley.
Okay.
I can't dance, so I don't really have a
favorite one to watch. Come on, give me any dance move.
the moonwalk.
There you go. Well done.
I suck at
And your
it.
question.
So this is coming from a Twitter follower called Patronus Malec. She loves you, and she was wondering if Magnus had to give any advice to Peter, what would it be?
That's a good question. And, with Magnus having his struggles with kind of being able to, he easily expresses himself and lets it be known how his feelings are. But I think the best advice that he would give someone like Peter, who doesn't really step out of his comfort zone, is like step out your comfort zone and even be okay with the rejection, because that'll teach you maybe to adjust the approach, which Magnus clearly does. And you saw him in the first season, he definitely changed his approach with his hairstyle and everything, and his tactics of how to get what he wants. And I think that's something that Peter definitely lacks, and you'll see in the show that he'll slowly learn, but definitely I think Magnus, and he would say more glitter, but I would say Peter just shouldn't have glitter.
All right. Name, dance move, question.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and Wobble. I
All right.
With the wobble. And my question is, have you ever considered making a pact like that, like in Single by 30?
Surprisingly, not surprisingly, I did make a pact with one of my friends, but it was like we were just hanging out and be like, wouldn't it be cool to like if we had made this pact, and then we forgot about it the next day. And you know, I think that's what's great about kind of the show is that it's every time I just say the title of the show, Single by 30, people tell me their story like, oh my God, I did that, or I knew a friend that did that, and I would say a good amount actually say that that it actually went through, and that blows my mind because no, it really does, because I'm like, whoa, you really went through with this. And it's just to say that I think there's true love can be found through friendship, you know?
All right, next one.
Hi, Ari. I'm Julie. My questions are, what can we...
Question, yes.
You know the
Please
rules.
go.
You know the
Number
rules.
10.
Okay. Can I say the whole final dance in Step Up 3?
You can say whatever you want. That's a great...
So I'm going to
Just
say
go
that.
on.
Can we expect any dancing in Single by 30? And also, which of Wong Fu's videos is your favorite?
Ooh, I think in the trailer you saw a little bit of Peter, just a little bit, getting down, kind of very 2000s style, and a little ATL in there as well, if you know what that is. So yeah, you'll see a little bit. They put a little bit on it, and the second question was, I'm sorry.
Which of Wong Fu's?
Which of Wong Fu's? Yes. I really love Strangers Again because it was just, I think Philip Wang, he wrote the story. He's one of the directors for the show. He wrote this incredible story about how, you know, you're strangers, and then you have a relationship for years, and you break up, and you become strangers again. And it just, the way he wrote it and the way it went, it was just very real. And you know, if anyone has ever gone through a breakup, which I think most people have, it is that feeling like this person that you were so intimate with, you are strangers again. And I just, that just says like how he's so poetic with the way he writes and the story he tells. And I love that video. And obviously you could see it by the millions of people that loved it as well on YouTube.
All right, next question. Name, dance move, question.
David, I'm just throwing one out here, electric slide.
There you go. There you go. Put it out there, man.
My question for you, you know, you've worked on network television and cable, and now this is an internet series. As an actor, do you get more freedom when it comes to working on an internet show?
Yes and no. I always looked at it in a different perspective. You know, there are obviously different techniques, especially when, you know, a network kind of gives notes, or when you're doing a cable show, you think you'd get a little more freedom creatively. You know, I in those shows haven't been like a director or a producer, so I come from an actor's perspective. So I try and find the creativity and the creative freedom with collaborating. And there's moments when directors come in and they're very specific, and you know, you try and just follow their vision and you go with it, but try and also put a little bit of yourself, because at the end of the day, that's why they hired you. So for every role, like for instance, Glee, you know, I didn't have any lines for a whole season, or maybe a couple, and so I would just create these random stories. So if you watch it again, you're like, what is Mike Chang doing back there? and you know, I'm trying to create a story for myself, because it helps me to not look like I'm just sitting there not doing anything. And I think as it rolls across, even like with Magnus Bane, there's obviously the books, and then there's what the directors kind of want, but I try and bring my flair to it. And but specifically what you're saying on the creativity part, I think, yes, you know, that's why on YouTube Red right now, it allows the creators to really have a lot of freedom and to express themselves. And I think we're going towards that age with like Netflix shows and Hulu, where there's a lot more just the creative voice as opposed to a certain frame or a cookie cutter way of making a show.
We have time for one more question. Two more? We're going to do two more, okay? Second to last.
My name's Taylor. And my favorite dance move, I like to do fouettes.
There we go.
My question is, how is the preparation different for Peter and for Magnus?
Very different.
Exceedingly.
Very. I mean, you're talking about preparation on getting in mind of someone who's, who's lived through, so much, and seeing, Alexander the Great, just seeing a huge part of history that we've only read in books, but at the same time, they're all real emotions. You can't fake. You can't be like, oh, this warlock's gonna feel this certain way because they have 2 arms and 2 legs and and a heart, actual heart. So you have to find a happy medium and a real place to come from. So at the end of the day, outside of the costumes and the hair, and the makeup, it's really not that different. You want to get to the heart of like what these characters are trying to get. At the end of the day, they want something, and what do they want? How do we get it? So for me, it's not that different. And for Peter specifically, what I really enjoyed is the side of that we don't really get to see on television or even on digital series, where you see this side of this guy that's really sensitive but not to the point where he's crying in every scene. He's just a real dude that with real feelings and is able to express them, and maybe not tell exactly how he feels, but you can see it on his face. And I think we live in a society where it's like, man up, dude, man up, and we forget that there's it's okay to let it out, let your feelings out a little bit, especially for guys.
And last question.
We're going to take our last question from an online viewer. So V would like to know, what type of role would you like to play in the future that you haven't explored yet?
Ooh, that's a hard question. That I haven't explored. I would love to, everyone's always trying to look for, like, I want to be a superhero, I want to be this, but I really want to be a cartoon character. Because my wife is a voiceover actress, and she's on Steven Universe, and she plays Peridot. Yeah. And I sat in a booth, and first of all, she was sweating behind the booth because she's like, doing all the movement and just kind of doing whatever she can to get the voice across and get the acting across. And it blew my mind, and it was so funny and so fun to watch, and so much work goes into these voiceovers that, I want to play some like crazy zany cartoon character that maybe like an egg that is
an anthropomorphic egg.
Yeah,
like with arms,
one arm and one leg.
One arm.
Yeah, he has to roll over every time he needs to
egg.
go there. Yeah, and then you can't crack him or he's gonna die. I don't know, man. I've been able to do so many like interesting characters that I have no idea what's going to come my way, and if I connect with it, then I'm down.
Fantastic. Well, I love you've done so many characters that the pitch you've arrived at is the one-armed, one-legged, zany egg guy. I'd pay to see it. I got to tell you, the show, Single by 30, it's everything we've said. It's very real. It's very funny. It feels like storytellers telling their story. It's great that it's on YouTube, Red. You can see the first 2 episodes today, right?
Yeah, you can see the first 2 episodes today, and the first one's completely free for everyone to watch. So, yeah, please check it out and see if you like it.
Guys, one more time, Harry Shum Jr., come on!